Hey there, and welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on something we use every single day, words. We're going to figure out how they pack so much meaning, so much power into just a few letters. Let's dive right in. So, let me ask you something. Just think about it for a second. When you hear the word home, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? Is it just, a building with a roof and doors? Or is it something more? This one simple question is actually the key to understanding a huge concept in language. You see, almost every single word we use is kind of like a coin. It's got two different sides. On one side, you have the straightforward literal meaning. But on the other, you've got the feeling, the vibe, this whole cloud of ideas that comes along for the ride. And getting a handle on this dual nature is absolutely crucial, because it's the difference between just hearing words and really getting what someone's trying to say. It's where all the magic of language really happens. Okay, so let's start with the first, most concrete side of that coin. This is the meaning you'd find if you cracked open a dictionary. It's the solid foundation that everything else is built on. This is what we call denotation. It's the explicit, no-frills core meaning of a word, completely stripped of any emotion or personal baggage. It's the part that pretty much everyone who speaks the language can agree on. It's our shared starting point. For example, the denotation of the word cat is just a small domesticated feline animal. That's it. For winter, it's the coldest season of the year. For chair, it's a seat for one person. Super simple, totally objective, right to the point. No feelings, just the facts. But of course, that is not the whole story. Not even close. Now we get to flip the coin over and look at the other side. The one that gives words their color, their emotional punch, and all their power. So let's circle back to our original question about the word home. The denotation is super simple, right? A physical dwelling where a person lives. But the connotation, man, that's where the good stuff is. It's all the ideas and feelings it brings up. Comfort, security, family, that sense of belonging. That's the vibe. And here's the thing. This quote really hits the nail on the head. In our everyday lives, when we're talking or reading or listening to music, words are almost always working on both levels at the same time. We're constantly navigating both the literal meaning and all those emotional associations. It's what makes language so rich and, let's be honest, so beautifully complicated. Now, you might be thinking, okay, denotation, the dictionary part, that seems pretty simple and clear. But, even this literal side of things can get surprisingly tricky. Let's look at a couple of ways it can trip us up. So the first big challenge is something called lexical ambiguity. Fancy term, simple idea. It's just when one single word can have a bunch of totally different literal meanings. And our brains have to do some serious heavy lifting in the background to figure out which meaning you're actually going for based on the context. And this ambiguity actually comes in two flavors. First, there's polysemy. That's when the meanings are related, like the head on your body and the head of a company. See the connection? But then you have homonomy, where the meanings have nothing to do with each other, like the bank where you keep your money and the bank of a river. Same word, totally different worlds. All right, the second problem gets a little more philosophical. It's this idea that a word's meaning isn't always the exact same thing as the specific object it's pointing to out in the real world. I know, that sounds a bit weird. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, let's walk through this little puzzle together. So at a certain point in history, the name Václav Klaus and the phrase the current Czech president both referred to or pointed at the exact same person. So far so good, right? But here's the catch. Do they mean the same thing? No, not at all. Václav Klaus is a specific name that will always refer to that one individual. But the current Czech president is a role, a title that changes over time. So even when two phrases point to the same thing, their core denotation, their meaning, can be completely different. Okay, so we've waded into denotation, connotation, and some of the really tricky parts of literal meaning. But why does any of this matter outside of a linguistics class? Well, it turns out this stuff is incredibly practical and shows up everywhere. So, why does this all matter? Oh, the applications are endless. Understanding this split helps us communicate way more precisely. It lets us appreciate poetry and literature on a whole new level. It's even key to how we get humor and sarcasm. Plus, and this is super important today, it's fundamental for technology. For AI or a search engine to really get us, it can't just know dictionary definitions. It has to figure out what we really mean. Ultimately, knowing this stuff just makes us sharper, more critical readers and listeners, able to see all the subtle layers of meaning in everything from a song to a news headline. So the next time you write an email or read an article or even just say the word home, maybe just take an extra second to think, what are you denoting? And maybe more importantly, what are you connoting? What are the hidden meanings swimming just beneath the surface of the words that shape your world? Something to think about, right? Thanks for tuning in.